also figured in for inflation the so-called dollar, the reserve note, the bill, has been devalued in excess of 95% over the last century. A reserve note, a bill, is worth 95% less today than it was 100 years ago. And of course, the thing that's got a lot of people wondering is this move to go to cryptocurrency by the United States government. Well, the Federal Reserve wants to go to cryptocurrency, obviously, and everybody and their brother across the planet is discussing what they're referring to as is a great reset. They want to reset the monetary system, the economic platform for basically, I guess, the whole country and the whole world. They want there to be this switch from the paper bills. They took all the silver and the gold and the copper right after they murdered John Kennedy. John Kennedy had issued a bunch of silver certificates with red seals, apparently the red seal notes of John Kennedy's administration. And just a little week or two after his American University speech, where he was talking about exposing secret societies and the very clandestine masters of the universe, his brains were splattered all over Dealey Plaza in Dallas. And then 20 months later, Lyndon Johnson and the Federal Reserve Mafia, well, they snuck in the Coinage Act of 1965. Now let's fast forward here a little bit, and we'll take a look at this SARS and COVID. I don't know what you want to call it. Let's call it a scamdemic, a plandemic. They're crashing the economy on the back of this virus that's been around basically forever. And at the same time, they're crashing the economy and ordering people locked up in their homes and putting millions of small businesses out of business and crashing the economy. I mean, right now we're on the eve of the next presidential elections, and Pelosi and Trump are arguing over some more communism, some more socialism bailout, the 1,200 reserve note checks that they want to give to the American people to give them some chicken scratch in their pockets. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States has become nothing more than a giant socialist pinko commie bailout economy. They've been bailing out banks and bailing out Fannie Mae and bailing out Freddie Mac and bailing out the savings and loans and just bailing everybody out with stimulus money since January, February of 2020. They've pumped 7 trillion notes. Notes. They're notes, ladies and gentlemen. They're bills. Bills of exchange, bills of credit, fiat. Phony, baloney money. This is what David Stockman, he was the director of the Office of Management and Budget for 2 U.S. presidents. Look what David Stockman refers to when he's discussing reserve notes. And then, of course, you've got the Mises Institute and a bunch of other economic scholars all over the world that realize that the scamdemic, plandemic, and the Great Reset, and all of this shin plaster. Look it up. Look up the pictures of shin plaster. See if you can educate yourself a little bit in fiat currencies, like the worthless paper trash that exists in Venezuela. the worthless paper central banknotes of Venezuela. And there's a lot of other dinars and paper currencies all over the world that go from being worth something to being worth absolutely nothing rather quickly. And I believe this is the reason we're openly discussing the Great Reset on the cover of Time magazine, for instance, and Forbes, and what's the name of that other guy there? It'll come to me here in a second. He was mayor of the city of New York there. Oh God, Bloomfield News or whatever his name is there. They're all talking about the Great Reset too, going to Fed coin and all the crypto digital currencies that the Federal Reserve wants to replace the gold, the silver, and the copper with. They took all the gold. Wait a minute, they took all the gold, they took all the silver, they took all the copper right before, right after they murdered John Kennedy. Folks, I'm going to suggest to you that Robert Kennedy Jr. and his discussions on the way the United States is being enslaved with vaccines and infectious disease, the Liberty Project, I think, is what they're referring to. Their next efforts are to resist this communist takeover of the United States. I've got this great big huge enthusiastic Trump supporter. I've been telling him all along that the United States taxation is socialism. Taxation, when it becomes too onerous, actually becomes communism. And when you're handing out stimulus checks by the trillions to try to keep people placated and what would you call that? Calm and hypnotized. Send me a $1,200 stimulus check and I'll be just as happy as a clam. It's communism, folks. It's nothing more than bailout after bailout after bailout after bailout after bailout after bailout. Yeah, that's all they've been doing for the past 50, 60 years, is bailing everybody out and devaluing through inflation this phony baloney bullshit money. Oh, I said bullshit. Oh God, that South Park language is going to get me in trouble. Folks, all the information and all the links you need are below. And as always, we will be back. And in the meanwhile, start asking the hard questions. Why are we going to Bitcoin or Fedcoin or cryptocurrency from the Federal Reserve note manufacturers? There, where they keystroke all the money into existence. We'll leave it right there, folks. We'll be back.